Come on in. Welcome to Idled Out, where we talk all things Survivor. My name is Luke, and today we're talking about 5 old twists and advantages Survivor should bring back. Ever since Survivor introduced tribe swaps in Season 3, game-changing twists and powerful advantages have been part of the DNA of the game. There's no question that a lot of twists have been introduced into the game over the years. You don't get to 46 seasons and counting without mixing things up, and for the most part, they've been pretty good. Some have gone on to become defining parts of the show following their introduction, and they usually bin the bad ones after a season or two if they're not working out. I almost always appreciate the show shooting their shot on these sorts of things at least a time or two. Except you. So today, I thought it would be fun to take a look back at some really good twists and advantages of yesteryear Survivor should bring back to the game, and which could easily be reintroduced into the new era. I'll mostly be mining the early days here, but there is at least one new era advantage I'd like to see become a staple. Is it the knowledge is power? You'll just have to wait and see, but no. Advantages speak for themselves, but I'll be using the term twist pretty loosely. So anything that functionally shakes up the game in a meaningful way is fair game for this list. Basically, if it's on the Survivor Wiki under the twist page, it's fair game. Let's go. Tribes divided by ethnicity is back on the menu, boys. So put on your advantage amulet, grab your fire tokens, and meet me on the SS John Cochrane as we take a look at 5 old Survivor twists and advantages I'd like to see return. At number 5 is Tribal Absorption, seen in Survivor All-Stars. There have been several ways tribe swaps have shaken out throughout the years, and some have been pretty weird. To kidnapping some cannon fodder, to sending your hottest members to an overnight spa to divide everyone up, to mutinying on your tribe to go make out with Adam. Tribe swaps have gotten weird throughout Survivor history. But one way that I think would be fun, in which I'm actually surprised it never really returned, was the tribal absorption in Survivor All-Stars. In the Episode 5 Reward Challenge in All-Stars, Jeff told the players that the tribe that got last place in the challenge would be dissolved, and their members split between the other 2 tribes. So long as everyone knows this is happening beforehand, I think this is a super fun idea. It opens up a lot of strategic possibilities for both the winners and losers. It gives an early challenge massive stakes, and I just think this would play really well in general in the new era. The classic choose a buff out of an urn tribe swap returned in full in Survivor 45 to much fanfare, but it still kept things at 3 tribes. Fair enough. But fans have been clamoring for the 2-tribe dynamic to return for a while now. I get why it hasn't come back. With 18 players, they'd have to have an uneven gender ratio on each tribe to start, and I think they would really like to avoid that. But this is a quick and easy way to get us to that 2-tribe dynamic in the early game without starting with uneven genders. And even if you think this is a harsh punishment for the tribe that loses the challenge and gets dissolved, well, yeah, that is kinda the point. But it's not necessarily a death sentence. In All-Stars, when Saboga was dissolved, Jenna and Rupert accepted their full frontal lobotomies courtesy of Boston Rob and integrated perfectly fine into Shapira, and Ethan and Jerry both outlasted Hatch and Colby on the pecking order on Mogo Mogo. And personally, I don't think in the new era that many players have a huge interest in blindly voting along tribal lines anyway. Remember who voted Sifu? I think we'll be seeing another tribe swap sooner than later, and personally, I hope it's extra absorbent. At number 4 is the Choose Your Champion advantage, seen in Survivor 43. I know this is basically cheating, we just saw this advantage a few seasons ago, but I think of all the advantages Survivor has thrown at the wall in the new era, of which there are many, this one stuck the most. This advantage allows the finder to bet on who will win the upcoming immunity challenge, and should that person win immunity, they will win immunity as well. Another minor plus of this advantage is getting to know the upcoming challenge beforehand. This is kinda the spiritual successor to an advantage Lauren got on Island of the Idols, which allowed her to bet on a player to win immunity, which would grant her a time-sensitive immunity idol should she get it right. But overall, I think Choose Your Champion is simpler, better, and most importantly, not on Island of the Idols. Cody found this advantage and bet on Owen, who won the last Gasp challenge alongside Carla, granting Cody immunity as well. I do think this would require a little tweak in a second iteration. Because the tribe didn't know who Cody bet on, the advantage basically gave him blanket immunity for that round. So I think a simple post-challenge reveal of who was bet on would be good. But overall, I think this is a really fun, balanced advantage that gives the finder agency and rewards good intuition without breaking the game. And I'd love to see it become a semi-regular fixture in Survivor's tool belt to be trotted out every couple of seasons or so, a la the extra vote. Or maybe I just like it because it kept Cody safe for another round. Gotta be one of those. At number 3 is the challenge disadvantage, seen on Survivor Edge of Extinction and Survivor Winners at War. Challenge advantages have frequently been used ever since Danny bought the very first one in the auction, all the way back in Survivor Guatemala. I'd love to see someone win an advantage to disadvantage others in a challenge, whether that's individual immunity or even tribal immunity. There are so many ways to implement this in a fair and fun way, and I think they basically have already got the balance right on the Edge of Extinction battlebacks. All you gotta do is add some extra steps or knots or give them some sort of time penalty. I think it would be super fun to see this in a pre-merge setting with 3 tribes, where the tribe that holds this advantage could use it and choose which member of another tribe sits out of the immunity challenge. Imagine Yanu or Siga using this in Survivor 46 and benching Hunter at a crucial immunity. This could completely change the game. This method also prevents a dominant tribe from using it against a weaker tribe. Post-merge, this would work just like challenge advantages always have, but instead of helping yourself, you're hurting someone else. Something my therapist says I need to stop doing. I think Survivor's generally gotten the balance right on challenge advantages over the years, making them a boon to have, but not a guaranteed win, and same with the few times we've seen disadvantages used on Edge of Extinction. It causes drama, it feels personal when it's used against you, and it's something that players are actually pretty likely to use. I mean, who wouldn't want to slap a challenge disadvantage on this guy? At number 2 is hiding the immunity idol at challenges, introduced in Survivor Cambodia and seen in a few subsequent seasons. This is such a fun twist that balances risk and reward perfectly, that I'm pretty certain we'll see it come back in the new era at some point or another. Beware advantages are fun. I've enjoyed every iteration of them and the show's constant creativity in implementing them. But generally, I think the ones that have been most successful have been those that required the most risk and agency to get. I'm thinking the beads in Survivor 43 and the birdcage in Survivor 44 as the peaks here, though I'll always have a soft spot for the silly phrases, just for giving us Broccoli Brad.
I was hoping it was the salt water that was making my clothes baggy, but the fact is I'm just turning into a little bit of a twig and with kind of a fuzzy top. I feel like a broccoli, so.
It's insane. How did the guy who looks like a head of broccoli get the broccoli saying? I'd love a beware advantage that makes you have to sneakily grab an idol at a challenge in full view of everyone, lest you lose your vote. But why not take it further? Put it on a perch you can only get if you're in a hero position in the challenge, meaning you have to convince your tribe you're the best person for that job, even if you're not. Survivor chased the high of Wentworth getting that idol in the Cambodia premiere for years by hiding idols or advantages in challenges every few seasons, but it never really reached that same peak. But it's not because this is a bad idea. Mostly it was because the audience actively did not care about the people finding these idols, or it was Island of the Idols and the season was already in the dumpster. I'm sorry, but I really don't care if Troyzan finds an idol In fact, I'd prefer he didn't. This is a really fun idea with a lot of mileage left. Bring it back in a season without Troyzan. The number one twist or advantage I would like to see Survivor bring back is Schoolyard Picks in general. Survivor used to let players line up and divide themselves up like 7th graders playing dodgeball all the time, but along the way, that slowly disappeared. Though I do think this is still utilized in post-merge team rewards, and we just don't get to see it. I get that Survivor can't just let the players divide the initial tribes themselves. That's how you get Sukjai. But I do think there's still room in the game for Schoolyard Pick'ems elsewhere. Specifically, the swap. Since the 20s, swaps have almost always been random buff draws, and I definitely don't hate that. There's something to be said for leaving it in Lady Luck's hands. But I want to see some of that mean playground energy back in the game. And with Spicy Jeff back and apparently armed, I think we could see it. Here's my case. Some of the best swapped tribes of all time have been hand-selected by the players in Schoolyard Picks, including Karor, Kasaya, Aitu, and Fong. Just like in real life, it creates petty drama and hurt feelings. You can look way too into the motives of why someone picked someone else out of a lineup. There's room for strategy in the selection. When picking, you can pick the strongest players and hope they'll carry you to the merge, or you can pick a weakling to give yourself someone to point the finger at later when you lose a challenge. You can pick people you think will be potential allies to you or enemies to someone else on your tribe. You can split up obvious pairs. I think this would work really well in the new era. You could structure it so that players had to alternate tribes in their selection, so the initial tribes are divided somewhat evenly, or you could just make it a free-for-all. Heck, put this at Earn the Merge or the Final 10 tribe split. Put it somewhere. Survivor is obviously sparingly and strategically trying to deploy tribe swaps after going way too overboard with them in the 30s. But the next time we see one, which I'm guessing will be in the next 2 seasons, I'd love to see the return of the Schoolyard Pick'em. And again, not in a season with Troyzan. He wasn't actually ever involved in a Schoolyard Pick'em. I just don't want to see him again. Got nothing else for ya. If you've chosen your YouTube champion and it's me, like and subscribe and I'll get you more Survivor content just like this. Until next time, don't get idled out.